aliens never expected the most peaceful species to side with humans. HFY Stories. Prologue: A Galaxy on the Brink. The Galactic Federation, a fragile alliance of thousands of species, had existed for millennia. It was a bureaucracy as vast as the stars themselves, built on the principle of cooperation and peace. At its heart were the Eldara, an ancient race of translucent, luminous beings who had guided the Federation's formation and served as mediators during countless conflicts. The Eldara were revered as paragons of peace, their wisdom sought by all. Humanity's arrival in the galactic fold disrupted that balance. A young, ambitious species, humans brought innovation and energy, but also a reputation for defiance. The more conservative factions of the Federation regarded humanity with suspicion, dismissing them as reckless upstarts who would bring ruin to the galaxy. When war broke out with the Hrelth Dominion, a militaristic empire that sought to claim the Federation's outer territories, humanity was the first to take up arms. The Federation, hesitant to commit to war, relied on its member species to volunteer their fleets. Humanity, despite being one of the newest members, contributed more than anyone expected. The Eldara, true to their principles, refused to participate in the conflict. They provided diplomatic support but abstained from military action, urging humanity to consider peaceful resolutions. To many, the Eldara's stance was a foregone conclusion. They were pacifists, unyielding in their dedication to nonviolence. No one could have imagined what would come next. Chapter 1: The Outbreak of War. The Hrelth Dominion struck without warning. Their fleet, an imposing array of angular, blackened warships, descended on the border worlds with ruthless efficiency. Planets fell within hours, their orbital defenses obliterated by the Dominion's plasma lances. The Federation's response was slow and fragmented, its member species reluctant to commit their forces to a war they believed humanity had provoked. Earth, however, did not hesitate. President Alina Cross, leader of the United Terran Council, addressed the Federation Assembly from the central dais on Ilion Prime. Her holographic image towered over the gathered representatives, her words sharp and unyielding. "The Hrelth do not seek negotiation," Cross declared. "They seek domination. While you deliberate and stall, worlds burn. Humanity will not stand by and watch. We will fight. Not just for our colonies, but for the Federation itself." Admiral Marcus Vren, commander of the Terran Defense Fleet, mobilized Earth's forces within days. Shipyards in the asteroid belt churned out warships, while research stations on Luna refined experimental weaponry. Humanity's fleet, a mix of massive dreadnoughts, nimble corvettes, and experimental fighters, departed for the front lines. The first engagement at Valeris III was a brutal baptism by fire. The Hrelth fleet, led by the dreadnought Eviscerator, outnumbered the humans 2-1, but humanity fought with ingenuity and grit. Admiral Vren used asteroid fields as cover, luring the Dominion ships into ambushes where Terran railguns and missile salvos wreaked havoc. Though Valeris III ultimately fell, the Hrelth paid dearly for their victory. Chapter 2: The Federation Divided. The war deepened fractures within the Federation. The elder races, including the bureaucratic Zelvar and the reclusive Thrix, advocated for continued diplomacy, even as the Hrelth advanced. Younger species like the industrious Makari and the amphibious Anzari rallied behind humanity, impressed by their determination. At the center of the debate were the Eldara. Their serene presence often calmed the storm of Federation politics, but now their neutrality was a source of contention. Ambassador Lyre, an Eldaran diplomat, faced mounting pressure to support the war effort. Human Ambassador James Riker confronted Saren during a heated assembly session. "You preach peace, but peace is a luxury we can no longer afford," Riker said. "The Hrelth won't stop until the Federation lies in ashes. We need your help." Saren's luminous form flickered, their voice soft but firm. "The Eldara have always sought to end conflict through understanding, not violence. We cannot betray our principles, even now." Riker's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "I hope you're right, Saren. Because if you're wrong, there won't be a Federation left to mediate." Meanwhile, humanity redoubled its efforts. Terran engineers developed advanced plasma disruptors capable of penetrating Hrelth shields, while scientists created EMP warheads to disable their ship's systems. The fleet expanded, bolstered by volunteers from allied species. Chapter 3: The Turning Point. The Battle of Zalthus Rift became a critical moment in the war. The Rift, a narrow corridor of space surrounded by unstable wormholes, was a strategic choke point. Whoever controlled it could cut off supply lines to half the Federation's core worlds. Admiral Vren's fleet arrived first, taking up defensive positions within the Rift. The Hrelth fleet, led by the Eviscerator and its escort of cruisers, arrived hours later. The Dominion strategy was simple: overwhelm the humans with brute force. But humanity fought with cunning. Using the Rift's gravitational anomalies to their advantage, Terran ships lured the Hrelth into traps. Fighters deployed EMP warheads to disable enemy ships, allowing railgun-equipped frigates to deliver precise, devastating strikes. The heroes who ran past the danger experienced a strangely harmonious synchronous. The heroes who called the home fleet speed still attacked. Indomitable spirit, its plasma lances carving through the ship's shields. Admiral Vren, refusing to retreat, ordered a desperate maneuver, ramming speed. The indomitable spirit collided with the Eviscerator, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion that crippled both ships. The Terran fleet, inspired by Vren's sacrifice, pressed the attack, driving the Hrelth into retreat. Though the battle was a costly victory, it marked a turning point. Humanity had proven they could stand against the Dominion even in the face of overwhelming odds. Chapter 4: The Eldara's Decision. The Eldara had been the stewards of galactic peace for millennia, their crystalline forms symbolic of calm wisdom and unyielding neutrality. But the war with the Hrelth had shaken even their serene core. The Eldaran homeworld of Elaras, a shimmering planet of crystalline cities and tranquil seas, became the epicenter of an unprecedented debate. The Eldaran council chambers were a breathtaking sight. The entire hall was carved from a single massive crystal that refracted light into prismatic patterns on the floor. The Eldaran leaders, their forms glowing faintly in the dim light, floated around the central dais where Ambassador Lyre stood, their light dimmer than usual, a sign of inner conflict. "We have always stood as beacons of peace," Saren began, their voice resonant yet heavy. "But how can we call ourselves protectors of the Federation when we stand idly by as it burns?" High Chancellor Lyran Voss, the Eldaran leader, hovered above the dais, their crystalline body emanating a golden hue. "To take up arms is to betray everything we are. Violence begets violence. If we abandon our principles now, we risk becoming what we despise." "But what of the lives already lost?" Saren countered, their light intensifying. "Dracor 7, Valeris III, Zalthus Rift, these are not mere statistics, they are tragedies we have allowed. Humanity fights not for conquest, but for survival. If we do nothing, we are complicit." The council erupted in a cacophony of chiming voices. Some supported Siren, arguing that the Eldara's inaction had emboldened the Hrelth. Others stood firm with Lyre, fearing that participation in the war would irreparably damage the Eldara's moral standing. Saren's voice rose above the din. "We are not abandoning our principles by defending the innocent. We are fulfilling them." The chamber fell silent, the weight of Saren's words settling over the gathered Eldara. The debate continued for hours, but in the end the council reached a decision. For the first time in their history, the Eldara would join a war not as aggressors, but as protectors. When the announcement was made, the galaxy was stunned. The Eldara's entry into the alliance emboldened other hesitant species, bringing new fleets and resources to the war effort. The once fractured Federation began to unite, its members rallying around humanity and the Eldara as symbols of resilience and justice. Chapter 5: The Alliance Strikes Back. The Eldara's decision to join the war marked a turning point, and the Alliance wasted no time in planning a counteroffensive. Their target: Valaris III, a key Hrelth stronghold that had become a symbol of the Dominion's dominance. Retaking the planet would not only cripple the Hrelth supply lines, but also galvanize the Federation's forces. The fleet gathered at the edge of the Valaris system, a staggering array of Terran warships, Eldaran energy vessels, and Mechari disruptor frigates. Commodore Kane stood on the bridge of the Nova Aegis, her steely gaze fixed on the holographic map of the battlefield. "Valaris III is heavily fortified," Kane said, addressing the fleet via comms. "Their orbital defenses are formidable, and their ground forces are entrenched. But we have something they don't: unity. Today we fight not as separate species, but as one alliance." The battle began with a coordinated assault. Eldaran ships projected shimmering energy barriers that absorbed the Hrelth's plasma fire, creating safe corridors for Terran cruisers to advance. Mechari frigates deployed disruptor beams, targeting the Hrelth's automated turrets and creating openings in their defenses. The Nova Aegis led the charge, its railguns firing in synchronized volleys. The sky above Valaris III became a kaleidoscope of destruction as plasma beams and energy blasts crisscrossed the void. Terran fighters swarmed Hrelth capital ships, planting EMP charges that disabled their systems. On the ground, Captain Mira Solis led a joint force of human marines, Eldaran operatives, and Mechari engineers. The fighting was fierce, with every street and building turned into a battlefield. Eldaran operatives used their energy manipulation abilities to disable Hrelth fortifications, while Mechari engineers constructed makeshift railgun turrets to provide cover. Solis, armed with an experimental plasma rifle, fought her way to the planetary command center. The final assault was a brutal close-quarters battle, with Solis and her team facing off against the Hrelth's elite guards. Despite heavy casualties, the Alliance prevailed, reclaiming the command center and raising the Alliance flag over Valaris III. The victory was a turning point, signaling to the galaxy that the Hrelth could be defeated. The Alliance's unity had proven stronger than the Dominion's might. Chapter 6: The Final Battle. The war culminated in the Battle of Hrelthar Prime, the Dominion's homeworld and the heart of their empire. The Alliance fleet, now the largest and most diverse in galactic history, emerged from hyperspace in a stunning display of power. Terran dreadnoughts, Eldaran energy vessels, Mechari frigates, and Anzari scout ships formed a massive armada that stretched across the void. Commodore Kane stood on the bridge of the Nova Aegis, her jaw set with determination. "This is it," she said, addressing the fleet. "The Hrelth believe their homeworld is untouchable. Let's prove them wrong." The Hrelth defenders, though outnumbered, fought with ferocity. Their flagship, the Ravager's Wrath, was a monstrous biomechanical ship bristling with plasma lances and missile batteries. It engaged the Alliance's core formation, its weapons carving through shields and hulls with brutal precision. The Eldaran ships countered with concentrated energy blasts, disrupting the Ravager's Wrath's systems. Terran fighters swarmed the flagship, planting charges on its critical systems. The final blow came from the Nova Aegis, whose railguns fired a concentrated volley that pierced the flagship's reactor core. The resulting explosion lit up the void, signaling the beginning of the end. On the surface, Alliance forces launched a massive ground invasion. Captain Solis led the charge, her team fighting through waves of Hrelth soldiers to reach the capital. The streets of Hrelth Prime became a battleground, with towering skyscrapers collapsing under the weight of orbital bombardments. Solis's final confrontation with the Dominion's Supreme Commander Hrelth was a brutal and personal duel. Hrelth, clad in bio-enhanced armor, towered over Solis, his plasma blade crackling with energy. Despite the odds, Solis's determination and ingenuity prevailed. She used an EMP grenade to disable Hrelth's armor before delivering a decisive strike with her plasma rifle. The Dominion's leadership surrendered unconditionally. Hrelth Prime fell, and with it, the Hrelth Dominion. Epilogue: A New Dawn. The Alliance's victory at Hrelth Prime marked the end of the war and the beginning of a new era. The Federation, once fractured and hesitant, was now a united force for justice and progress. The Alliance's triumph inspired countless worlds, proving that even the mightiest empires could fall when faced with unity and resolve. On Valaris 3rd, President Elena Cross addressed the galaxy from the steps of the rebuilt command center. Her voice carried a mixture of pride and humility. Today, we celebrate not just a victory, but a testament to what we can achieve together. The Hrelth sought to divide us, but they only strengthened our bonds. Let this be the foundation of a brighter future. The Eldara, once pacifists, found a renewed purpose as protectors of peace. Ambassador Lyre became a symbol of the Eldara's transformation, their actions proving that even the most peaceful species could fight for what was right. Captain Mira Solis, now hailed as a hero, returned to Earth to oversee the rebuilding of Dracor 7. Standing among the ruins, she reflected on the sacrifices that had been made. "We didn't fight for glory," she said softly. "We fought for each other." The galaxy, once on the brink of despair, now shone with the light of hope and resilience, and humanity, scarred but unbroken, stood as a beacon of strength and unity.